You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And today we're welcoming two creators who have spent the last several years building one of indie comics' most intriguing horror and urban fantasy worlds. Inspired by the classics like Hellboy, Hellblazer, and Swamp Thing, Otherkin follows a spell creator named Alex through a world of magic, mystery, and increasingly dangerous choices. Across 5 issues, Victor and Marco have built a creator-owned series that blends horror, fantasy, mythology, and deeply personal storytelling into something uniquely their own. Tonight, we're talking about the origins of Otherkin, the realities of independent publishing, building a long-form comic series, horror storytelling, artistic collaboration, and what it takes to build a creator-owned vision, to bring a creator-owned vision to life one issue at a time. So whether you're a longtime fan of Otherkin, a horror comic enthusiast, or a creator looking to learn from two people doing it the right way, you've come to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. Victor, Marco, welcome to the council, friends.
Thank you for having us.
So today is pretty unique. I have Victor hailing from Brazil and Marco hailing from France. So it's kind of cool that we got a writer and a creator living in 2 separate countries who have worked on this amazing comic book together, doing a live podcast in the US. Really cool stuff. I'm glad we can make this happen, but let's dive into it, fellas. And Marco, we'll start with you. Tell us about your journey into comics and storytelling.
Well, I've always liked writing since I was a child. Actually, I remember when I was learning how to read and write, I used to make small illustrated books made with stick figures, and I would use a little piece of string to tie together pages and make a little book that you could flip. And this is something that always was part of me. When I grew up, I studied journalism. I started writing as a journalist. And I also started writing as a ghostwriter. So I was paid to write other people's books, basically. I did a lot of different things. One of the things that I did was even autobiography for other person. And I always like to tell this because it's a little bit wacky. But for many years, I was using my passion to write, and I was using my skills to write for work, for other people, for other projects. And this is something that bothered me. And since I was always a comic book enthusiast, I have been reading comic books forever, Marvel, DC, and also a lot of indie stuff. That's where the impulse to create the Otherkin came from, because I wanted to create something of my own, something that I could tell a story that was important to me, that had meaning to me, that was meaningful somehow. And I decided to go through comic books because Victor was visiting me here in France. He was on the couch and he was complaining a little bit about the same thing, how he was always an illustrator for other people and how he wanted to do something of his own. And we thought, you know what? Comic book is a way to unite both of our skills. So why don't we try it? So that's a little bit of the story.
I hope you know who this is because they're saying, these are the nerds behind Otherkin. Hey, we take nerds as a compliment.
Amazing artist. She lives in Argentina. And
she followed today. And I've been aware of her work for a little bit now. She's always shown a lot of love to the podcast. I'm liking the post that I put up on Facebook. And so great that she's talking. Like, it's really cool to.
Yeah, Bianca's great.
Have that circle moment.
Bianca is great, and now it's an exclusive for you, Chairman. We've been in discussions with Bianca, and she is going to make a variant cover for a future issue of Otherkin. We cannot say more for the time being, but she's an amazing artist. We are really happy to.
I'm going to send her an open invite if she ever wants to come on the podcast. We'll get her on the podcast and let her tell her journey as well. But we'll kick it over to you, Victor. Tell us about your artistic journey and kind of how did you find your way into comic books as well?
Right. Yeah. Well, opposite to Marco, I haven't read much comics growing up. I think I mostly read the classics like Watchmen and Dark Knight, and I mean the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Dude, that's a good one. That criminally underrated.
Yeah. I liked I liked the movie growing up, and then I liked the movie a lot. And people told me I should have read the comic, and the comic is way better than the movie because the movie is not good at all.
100. The comics are always better.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Watchmen.
We are already starting with the hot takes.
It's a very close one. I will still go with the comic book on that one.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so I worked a bit for tabletop RPGs, making illustrations. I've been an artist all my life. I don't know how to do anything else. I have no actual skills. all I can do is drawing. So I've worked as an illustrator. And yeah, Marco, we were talking about creating something, and he had this idea for an expanded universe, and he had this idea for a character, and he wanted to get it moving. So we started small, we started slow, and as I didn't have much experience with comics, so I had to try to figure it out, try and error, basically. So we started with something small, and then we jumped into this series of Otherkin comics.
The way to do it, just jump in, right?
Yeah, I gotta jump head first.
So I had mentioned Hellboy earlier, and Hellblazer and Swamp Thing. Were those some of the books that both of you, as creators, like made you fall in love with comics? Or, well, I know Watchmen for somebody up there, but like, what were some of those other things that kind of was like made you fall in love with the comic book genre?
I always loved Mike Mignola's art. I haven't read. I still haven't read Hellboy much at all.
It's hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, I have the omnibus. I have all the omnibus. I haven't read them. I just flip through.
That's the way to do it, because if you're chasing single issues, you're never going to get all the single issues.
Yeah. I always loved the art, and I mean, Mike Mignola and Genndy Tartakovsky from Samurai Jack are my main inspirations for art. And I don't have really any actual inspiration from comics at all, outside of Hellboy.
I'll kick it over to you, Marco. Same question.
Yeah, when we started working together, we actually started to do like a book club, a weekly book club, where we
Oh,
would
nice.
read
Yeah.
something and we would discuss something.
Yeah.
We went through a lot of classics, including Swamp Thing from Alan Moore, The Realm from Alan Moore, and because we wanted to understand the reference of one another. And thanks to Victor, I also started to reading more recent stuff from DC. He really wanted to get into the absolute universe as soon as it started, and they say, "Okay, let's do this," and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah. When I was a children, I used to read mostly Marvel and DC because that was what was
It's
available in
readily
Brazil.
available. Yeah.
It we still don't have a strong comic book market in Brazil, so it was really hard to find even some things on Marvel and DC. And Hellboy was the first big book that was not from the big two to arrive in Brazil, and I fell in love with it hard. So I started to read Hellboy, and then BPRD, and then Witchfinder, and every book that was connected to that universe, Lobster Johnson. So that was huge for me, and I really like how Mike Mignola manages to build stories that are contained somehow,
Yeah.
but they are set in a world that's so expansive, so huge. He's doing that again with Unknown Lands now. So yeah, that is a major influence.
I like it. But let's talk about the birth of Otherkin. That's what we're here to talk about. Let's dive into that. And we'll start it with you, Marco. Where did the original idea for Otherkin come from?
Before we started to work on a comic book project, we tried to develop a video game, a roguelite video game inspired by Hades that would have a theme of superheroes. And the story was a little bit more less. It was not serious. It was a bit a love letter for different archetypes, and the main character was not Alex, was not the king. And we had to come up with different superheroes, and we tried to make parodies of superheroes that we loved. And we made a parody of John Constantine.
Okay.
That was Otherkin. At first, Otherkin was just a name and the look. We didn't have anything about that. But as time went by, that character started to pop up in my mind again, and I started to think, okay, Otherkin, where does the name come from? The name was something I thought it was just cool at the first time. But where does this name come from? Where does this character come from? Where their powers come from? And I started to build a story around this character. So Otherkin started to become its own thing. It's no longer a parody of John Constantine. It's no longer something that's trying to copy John Constantine. It was inspired right at the first, at the beginning.
You can see some of the resemblance still there, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something that evolved and shifted, and I started to write some sort of origin story and put on the corner. It was not something that we were working on, and we hadn't discussed this, and we left there. And when we decided to make comics together, we decided to do a 6-page comic just to understand the process.
Yeah.
Let's see, what kind of software do we use? How do we deal with lettering? At which stage? All these small questions of production, we didn't know. We were completely ignorant about that. So we decided to pick a little project, 6 pages, just to learn how to do this. And this story was about a dog who saw a demon at her place and tried to warn the owners. And of course, the owners think that the dog is being hysterical, and that leads to tragedy. And at the end of the story, we wanted to put a figure that was some sort of paranormal investigator. And I said, okay, let's use Alex. Alex is doing nothing. Alex is picking up dust. So why not put that character there? And that created another process that we started to discuss. But how the heck did that character arrive in this story? What did they do before that? How did they know that there was a demon there? And we started to build this whole story of Alex and who they are and how they got to do this job of investigating demons and stuff like that. And that's where Otherkin came from, basically.
I like it. And I'll kick it over to you, Victor. What was your first impression when Marco kind of like brought this to you?
The expanded universe thing?
Well, just the entire thing in general, like from him having Alex just sitting on the shelf, and then kind of like, hey, how did we get from here to here? And like, since you're the man drawing it, like when he presented this to you, what was your first impressions of that? Or were you there the whole, like, was this something y'all were both like together on?
I was there at the beginning with this 6-page stories with the dog, and I already knew the idea behind Otherkin, because as he mentioned, that video game project he had started working on it before I came in. He had the ideas, he had some concepts drawn out by other people. So I had some idea. I knew Otherkin existed in some form, although it wasn't nowhere near what it is now. And we were just spitballing about this short horror story with a dog. And as he told, he wanted to fit Otherkin there, so we started to basically from the beginning to rethink Otherkin. I added some. I suggested some stuff about their powers, about their origin, and we kind of recreated it from the beginning. So I kind of was I kind of considered that I was there from the beginning. Now,
I mean, y'all are friends. Y'all are friends to begin with, so it was one of those where I'm like, okay, I don't know how like close of friends y'all were, but now I know. So a lot of the questions I ask, it's just because going into this, I didn't know y'all were like close friends. So if questions are a little odd, that's probably why. Because I thought this was like, I didn't realize y'all were like close, you know, like y'all been homies since the beginning. So that's really cool.
Kind of. We've known each other for almost 10 years now, and but at the time he came to me with the idea for the video game project thing. He had started it without me, and just, I'm working on this. What do you think? Let's work on that. And he had some initial ideas, and then that stopped for a while, and we weren't talking about it anymore. And then we picked back up with the comic book idea just from the start. And I mean, it kind of was born at that time when I was visiting him. Before he was living in Brazil, in Rio, as I am when we met, and then we started talking about the comic book after he moved and I was visiting him. So it's different times.
Yeah, and I would say that Victor has been there from the beginning, and he has been influential to Otherkin. We like, I always say that Otherkin is a creation of us both. It doesn't matter that the original idea came from me, because Victor is all the time giving ideas. We have incredible collaborative process where I write anything, I send to Victor, he will read and he will say, I think this is good, I think this is not good. Okay, I don't know how to fix it, but you need to change it. And okay, I will have the job to change it. It's not an issue. And sometimes he will also give some ideas like, oh, I think this would look cool, artistic sense. This would be cool on the page. And can you come up with an excuse for this to show up in the story? I say, okay, let's do this. Yeah. And so all the time, all these ideas, all this feedback is building a stronger story, and is building a comic book that is more interesting to look at and more interesting to read.
Yeah, I like to say Marco came up with the comic book background, the horror background, Hellblazer, and everything, and I added some emo bands on top of that, so My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. No, dude, I love that. And it's funny that you brought that up. Harshstroke, who's an artist out of Mexico, he likes to inject punk rock into the projects that he works on. So when you said that just it's like, oh, that's similar to what Harshstroke does, because he's such a big punk rock fan.
Awesome.
He kind of injects that kind of music and style into the work he does. So that's really freaking cool that you mentioned that. This is for both of you. Kind of at what point did you realize that this project had a lot of long-term potential? I mean, you're on issue 5, or you just ended the Kickstarter for issue 5. At what moment did y'all both kind of go, this has some long-term potential to tell a really great story?
So I would say about the start, because we have a problem that it's not a bug, it's a feature. We cannot do anything that doesn't make absolutely sense in all levels. So just to give you an example, we knew that Alex would be a spellcaster. Alex is making spells. So we had to think, okay, how does this work? How magic works in this world? What is magic? How all of this comes together? So in order to write a simple story of Alex fighting a monster, I had to understand what is a monster, what is magic, what is all that. So the first stretch of the writing process of Otherkin took a long time, took a really, really long time. I spent almost a year writing, because I had to figure out how all these pieces work together. And when you put all these pieces together, and when all of this start to make sense, you start to realize that there are more stories to tell in this universe. So yeah, we got a little bit lost with all the stories that we wanted to tell, and then we took a step back and we decided, okay, we want to tell all the stories, but we are doing this ourselves. We have no funding. We need to be a little bit less ambitious. So we decided to tell one story that would be like Alex arriving in London, like we are telling, and we wrote a story. It's a story that will end in 8 parts. It's a story that has a closure, and the story that we are telling now, it ends. It leaves things open for other stories, and we want to tell these other stories. But yeah, we see the potential already. We told ourselves we are going to get to issue 8 no matter what sacrifice we have to make. Let's do this. And recently we decided to expand a little bit. We are going to get to issue 10 no matter what. Because issue 9 and 10 is going to be like intermission issues that are going to expand a little bit, do a little bit of world building, introduce other characters. And then if everything goes well, we can move to the next story. But But yeah, we see the potential to tell a lot of stories, to explore different areas of horror. This was very important for us right from the beginning, that we wanted to. Now we are exploring a little bit of body horror in this first issues, and we want to explore different kinds of influences. We want to explore Victorian horror. We want to explore cosmic horror. We have stories that are, some of them are plotted already. Some of them are just a concept that we say, okay, we want to do this. Let's leave this written down.
Right.
I like it. So, and this is for both of you again. So, what makes Otherkin unique among other indie horror comics? Like, what would, if you had to pitch this to me, if I was going to buy this horror comic over here and you're like, hey, wait, I have something that is more unique than that. Like, what is it that makes it unique, the indie horror comic?
I think there are several things that make it more unique. The first is, in terms of story structure, we are not following a hero. Both in horror stories, we carry this from superhero comics. We have usually a character that will face a challenge, and this character will make the choices to overcome that challenge. And Alex is not a hero. Alex is someone who wants to be a hero. He wants to do the right thing, but for selfish reasons. They want to prove their value. They want to be important somehow. And that leads to Alex doing stupid decisions in almost every issue. So it's funny that the main character arcs that we are dealing are not Alex. Alex is a vehicle to explore other characters and other arcs. Another thing that I think that makes Otherkin unique is that from the start we wanted to explore different mythologies, different traditions, different mystical traditions, and we didn't want to go to the classic horror comic book that's based basically on Christianity and this idea of hell and this idea of demons and this idea of challenge. And we wanted to do things a little bit different. So this first arc of Otherkin that we are working right now, it draws a lot from Aboriginal cosmology in Australia. So the first people of Australia and their cosmology, and how this is going to reflect in different ways of thinking. So that is something that we also think that we are doing differently. Victor?
What's your thoughts, Victor?
Oh, I'm so glad Marco is here, because I got so nervous because from that question. I don't know how to answer. I don't know what makes it unique. It's great, guys.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Marco answered perfectly. I mean, he's the brains of the operation. I like to think I'm the heart, but he's the brains. So
that's perfect right there. That's a legit answer.
Throw the hard questions at him, and
I like it. But let's talk a little bit about the world of Otherkin. And Marco, since you're the brains of the operation, I'll kick it to you. Why was London the right setting for this story?
London is the setting for this story because we are telling a story that will touch in the tradition of the mystic arts as we know that. And London is a setting that is not essential for this first story, to be honest, but for other stories that we want to tell and why London is important, it's going to be. So we wanted to set in London as this heart of of a mystical tradition. We had in the Victorian era in London this rise of interest in alchemy and all these traditions that came with the mystics that were studying, I don't know, Solomon demons, and all this makes London historically interesting place to deal with horror and mysticism. And due to some characters and how we want to explore these characters in the future, we decided to set this in London.
No, I like it. And I'm going to kick this one to you, Victor, as the heart. So how much reference work goes into creating believable environments? I mean, if we're talking London here, it's a big city. It's known for its, older buildings and like the fashion styles of London. Like how much like do you put in a lot of research, or you just go, oh yeah, it's just another area?
I would love to tell I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time looking for reference, but I don't. No, honestly, I really like architecture. I really like London. I've never been, but I like it.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this the other day for some other plan. We are looking. I had an idea to look at the map of London and look for references and in Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Watch Dogs Legion to compare the different times. I forgot the word. The different ages, like Victorian London, modern London, to compare.
Okay, yeah.
So I like that stuff a lot, but I try not to get too locked into that, because if you try too much to mirror reality, then the holes start to show up and people start noticing. So I try not to be too locked into, okay, we have the library. I kind of try to give it a general feel. This could be set in London, but not, okay, this is the street. You can look at the street right now, because then also the story is set 20 years ago. It happens in this first arc happens in 2006. So we have some leeway there on how stuff looks and how stuff feels. And so I try not to be too. Yeah.
You don't want to like say, oh, this is this street and that street, because if you have fans in London, they're going to just be like nitpicking it, just like tearing it apart.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I would hate to get emails from our fans in London. Oh no, my street is wrong. That would be.
And they're huge comic book fans in the UK, so you definitely don't want to get something wrong. Imply it's London and call it good.
We have some actual buildings. The first issue, we have the airport. That is a real building that Victor reproduced. We have also the National Archives. So there are some things that are supposed to be part of the real world, but we are not trying to tell a story that is set in our London. It's just a version of London.
Yeah.
You have to do it that way. Like I was saying, like they will pick it apart if you say, "Oh, in London," they're gonna be like, "Oh, really?" And just start tearing it apart, and that would just be horrible.
I mean, maybe that's a good strategy for. Maybe that's a good strategy for engagement. Like we can start
and it as an option
some baits.
Yeah, have a Kickstarter. Like one of the prizes, like, oh, if you pay this much, we'll draw your flat in the book, or we'll draw you into the book and pointing at your street sign. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely one of those. You have to like pick and choose your battles on that one.
Yeah.
But, and this is kind of for both of you, how do you find a way to balance horror and mystery and fantasy and like character development all within the book? Because, I mean, it all goes hand in hand. The story and the art, it all kinds of has to work together to balance all these elements out.
Character comes first. That's the rule that we both have. Character comes first. Oh, it would be really cool if that happened. But would that character make this choice? Would they go to this direction? Would they try this? No. So that is not going to happen. So we really want these characters to be complex, to have their own motivations, their own preference, their way of interacting with the world around them. So that is always the top priority. That is the most important thing to every issue. It's what we try to do best.
Right.
Oh.
Also, I think we try to approach this from a heavy visual storytelling language. So we try to do as much as possible with just images. And because of that, I think we have to think a lot on how stuff moves and, you know what I mean, how the world works.
Yeah.
And it's easier to think about the development this way.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have those little intricacies built into the stories, the characters, and the art that's uniquely a way to define Otherkin versus other stories. They all, it's part of storytelling, right?
Yep.
And that's why I make storytelling in comic book format so unique and so vast, because you can do so much with it.
Yeah, it's funny because one thing that I learned since I started writing comic books is that it takes a lot more time to write a silent page than plaster a lot of narration, dialogue everywhere.
That silent page, that's Victor's writing right there. That you let the art tell the story and the words,
but
back up the art.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking now I should have gone with that for the answer of what makes it unique, because we have a lot of just visual storytelling, just silent pages, and that's great. There was one reviewer that said Otherkin really makes you pay attention to the details, and that's deep in my heart.
That's one of my favorite things. Like, you can read a comic book in 5 minutes. I can read a comic book in 25 minutes because I'm looking at those little smaller details within the panels. Because how do you tell a story? It's a visual, genre of storytelling with comic books. So you have to pay attention to the art, and the words are just backing up the art and helping that story flow along through that art. And so I always I'm going panel by panel and looking at the art and the little smaller details. Like, oh, that was something unique there. I wonder if that's going to come back later in the story. And quite often, that little thing that you noticed on that one panel, it comes back later to help advance that story a little further along. So everybody out there who reads comic books, like, oh, I read a comic book in 10 minutes. You didn't really read it. If you didn't pay attention to the art in that, you didn't really read that.
Is that a race? Do you want a medal? What's going on? Why do we?
People are like, oh, I can read a comic book so fast. I'm like, okay, cool. I can't. I'm studying it. I'm studying that book. But let's talk about the protagonist of this story and talk about Alex. And we'll start it with you, Marco. What made Alex the protagonist of this story?
So the story that we wanted to tell with Otherkin, the story that we wanted to explore, was about someone who was trying to figure out where they fit in the world, and so Alex came first with this concept. This is a person who is really into all the things that are creepy and all the things that are magic. And this is someone who is trying to find meaning in life. This is someone who look into the things that other people think that are nonsense because they cannot find meaning in the regular everyday life. So Alex's journey is this journey. It's someone who finally realizes that they were right. Something exists, something more exists, more than the work, more than the routine, more than the repetition. And now what they will do with this knowledge, they will try to think that this gives them a little bit more insight in the world. This makes them more capable, and they are going to be proved wrong a lot. And so basically that is the story that we wanted to tell with Alex. That's why Alex is the protagonist. We wanted to explore this this bothersome thing that we all feel at some point, that we all feel in some measure, that life it's sometimes not enough. Life it's heavy. Life is not something that has so much meaning all the time. Mm-hmm. So we are always in different ways, in different fashions, trying to find meaning. I think that the human experience is always finding meaning.
Yeah.
So that is why Alex is the protagonist, because this is the themes that we want to explore.
And Victor, for you, is like, when you were coming up with this design for Alex, now that we have talked about it, I can see the Constantine influences there from Hellblazer. Like, what was that challenge with y'all, like coming up with this design for Alex and what he looks like and how he dresses and that kind of stuff?
Much of it was trying to I don't think parody is the right word, but reference, you know what I mean? Much of it was trying to capture this feeling of Constantine. And if you read along, you notice Alex is someone that would try to imitate that, to like steal some importance from these kind of characters. And I think the idea there was mostly to add personality through imitation than to actually imitate. You know what I mean? And there are some reference there as well for My Chemical Romance in Alex's appearance and how they evolve through the arc. And issue 5 is big on these changes of trying to find their identity, and I think that's mostly it. The design itself is mostly this attempt of importance by Alex.
Yeah, it is. We're sitting here talking about it, and I'm like, he kind of looks a little bit like another character from a show that I really enjoy from Vox Machina. There's a character on there with the blonde hair and the glasses, and I get those Constantine vibes, and I get that character from Vox Machina as well. And I was like, that's kind of cool. It was purely unintentional on the Vox Machina side. It's just that's the vibe I see when I see him with the glasses and the blonde hair. I'm like, oh, he kind of looks like the guy from Vox Machina too.
Totally coincidental. I have never watched Vox Machina at all.
So it's wild, right? That like when I see him, I'm like, I get the Constantine vibes, and then I get like, but the facial structure and everything kind of looks like this other character from Vox Machina, which fantastic show. If you've never watched it, it's really fun. If you're
it's not like it's not like a overcoat with glasses. It's the most original design ever.
I know, right? I know. But, and it's funny because it's not, but that's the vibe I see when I see it, and it is pure coincidental, which I think is funny. But everybody's mind goes to different places when they see characters, right? And like I'm like, oh, I can see this, and oh, and this one right here too. So, but what do y'all think? And this is for both of you. What makes Alex such a like fans connect with him? And obviously, if we're on issue 5 of this comic book, people are obviously enjoying the story of Alex. Why do you think makes readers connect with him?
I think it's mostly. I mean, we are millennials. we're both born in the 90s. I think the main thing is this identity crisis, this need to belong somewhere. And I think mostly Otherkin is a story about belonging somewhere, of trying to find identity, to trying to be something, be someone. And I think that's what drives Alex the most. The trying too hard to be someone and failing at that.
Dude,
while there are other powers controlling the whole world and they're not aware of it.
We have all been there just trying way too hard.
I think that is something that people connect a lot. And from the few people who read issue 5, they said about how issue 5 changes a little bit the perception of Alex, because I think that people are a little bit resistant to the idea that Alex is not necessarily a good person. They are trying to do good. They are trying, but since they have this huge need of being someone, of finding an identity that is relevant, that's meaningful, they end up hurting other people. And I think that speaks to something that is very basic in the human experience. I would say that especially for millennials, because we are all depressed and we are all lost.
I mean, you gotta have character growth. You're 5 issues in. Alex has to have grown some from a personality standpoint and a character. You're going to get that character growth, and you're going to start to notice different things about the character. So, but let's talk about the creative process of the book. And this is for both of you. Like, walk us through the creation of a typical issue. Like when you get ready to go and write issue number 6 and to draw issue number 6, like how's that work between the two of you?
Okay, so for this first arc, we decided that every arc, every story that we want to tell, we need to have it written from the start to finish before we draw a single page. The idea is that we don't want to start writing something that we think is good and we think that is going somewhere, and then in issue 5 we suddenly realize, oh wait, this doesn't make any sense. We need to go back, but we cannot go back. So the process was, I wrote all 8 scripts for all 8 issues of the story arc, and then I sent Victor. He gave feedback, and then I start to rework that. And now every time that we will start a new issue production in art, we sit down, we call each other, and we read a full script. We do funny voices. We try to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And then we refine, we improve, we polish. But the story is all written because we do not want to risk sabotaging ourselves by writing something in the future, and we'll see where we go. This is not something that we were comfortable. For the first 8 issues, since Victor did not have a lot of experience with comic books, the script was not written in a typical way, because I also did all the paneling. And the issues are getting better because Victor read a lot of comic books since then, and now he is changing my paneling more and more and more. Because in the first issue, the paneling that was on my script was pretty much the paneling that we see on the first issue. But I'm a writer, and even if I have a pretty good notion of paneling, I'm not a visual artist first. So of course I'm severely limited with that. And as issues go by, they get a lot better because Victor, he can just call me and say, "Oh, this page is good, but the paneling is shit. I will change everything. Go ahead."
No, I like it. And that was actually a question. It's kind of like, how has this collaboration evolved over time? And it is just perfect that you said that.
On issue 4, issue 4, we were getting ready to begin the drawing process. By the way, just picking back up a bit, when I was working on drawing that 6-page stories, during the time I was drawing the 6-page story, Marco wrote everything for all the 8 issues for Otherkin, and I just read them, and it was the best thing I've ever read. So I had to work on it. And now every issue we do a read and go back and forth, and I suggest things to his process. He suggests things to my process.
Mm-hmm.
And on issue 4, we were reading before I started drawing, and I felt like this lacks something, lacks some punch, lacks some rhythm.
Okay.
And we added some pages.
Really great page that was on
on
the right. So it should be on the left because it should be hidden by a page flip. And I didn't think of that. And Victor thought of that in 30 seconds and say, "Why did you hide this in a page flip?" Because I'm dumb.
Yeah. And it's one of those where that's those little details, right?
Yeah.
Like what make that page pop more. And that's why you have a good team, because they're going to tell you like, "Hey, I think this one looks better over here," and that you can change it.
And the fact is,
that's those little details that are usually missed.
The fact is, nobody has read that with a page flip yet. Nobody has seen that issue with a page flip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the issue 4 isn't out in print yet, I think, right?
It is.
It is?
It is.
Okay. I don't have issue 4 in print.
Yeah, well, it still hasn't crossed the ocean, but it is. Because the issues are being printed in the US by Derry Comics, so they already printed up to issue 4.
Okay.
But our copies take a little bit longer to get here because international transportation is insane right now.
Oh, I get it. Like, trust me, there's some comics in the UK and other places that, where I want to back the Kickstarter, but it's going to cost me, $10 for the book, but $30 for shipping. And I'm like, I just can't commit to a $40 book when $30 of it is shipping.
Yeah. We had one backer on a Kickstarter from Australia that is going to pay €30 for shipping. And I feel bad. I feel so bad. Like, damn, great. I'm so grateful that it's a backer who bought the 5 issues, so the full collection.
So it's worth it though. If $30, I mean, you're getting 5 books. That makes more sense, right? But I get it.
It's still painful because it's more expensive than the books itself. So it's hard. Yeah. No.
What I was trying to say is we try to think on these small things like the page flip, what a page flip means way in advance, so we kind of have some surprises for the long game.
Yeah. And Victor makes me a better writer because when he points things up like that, this is something I will never forget. I remember exactly what the issue was with issue 4 because I will never forget. And now when I'm writing scripts, I always think about the page flip.
I like it.
Yeah, he makes a, oh, what a cutie. I saw a cat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is let me see if I can get her. Come here. Oh, she wants to fight me now. This one's Evie.
Hello. Hello,
Oh.
Evie.
Oh,
Oh, she's a cutie.
She's a little cutie, mischievous little cutie.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the process is really back and forth. Like in issue 6, I wrote 2 pages that were individual pages. And then Victor said, okay, we should maybe organize the panels as if they were a double page. And I said, okay, let's do that. And once he had finished those pages, we looked and he said, no one is going to know how to read this. The order of the panels is weird. So we went back to one page, two single pages, and we reorganized everything. So yeah, we have a lot of back and forth, and I think that the fact that we are both creators and we are both invested and we are both making our baby means that there is not hierarchy. There is not someone doing stuff and the other person just doing what they must to comply. And I think that we can improve and make better books like that.
It's kind of wild because that's a double splash page, right? And you're like, oh, people aren't going to understand how to read that. If this was being made in the 90s, you would need at least 2 different double splash pages like that in order to make a good comic book in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how that's evolved, and you don't see as many of those big double splash pages like you were just talking about.
Right. Yeah, I think that we see a few good examples. I think that Tinion likes to do that a lot, like something Killing the Children or The Nice House. They are mostly written as double pages, and like not spreads, but double pages.
Double pages,
It changes a little bit
That's
the
two of my favorite comic books, so I know exactly what you were talking about.
that comic is so good.
Yeah, Marco won't admit it, but I think Tinion is his favorite writer right now because every single day he comes to me with another Tinion written comic book, and
he has so many.
You need to read this, and I just can't find the time to read everything.
Yeah, my favorite one is Dennis Camp for the time being.
Okay.
Yeah. Assorted Crisis Event is brilliant.
So I missed out on that one when it first started. So I went back and gotten the trade paperbacks of it, and that one's been so good. But I don't think, like, I was able to track down the single issues of the earlier stuff from Something Is Killing the Children, and that is like definitely one of my favorite series. Between that and the House of Slaughter and the Book of Butcher and all the other
the Fall of Slaughter,
and then now there's a novel about to come out as well, and but no, it's just such a compelling story, and the fact that we're about to get it as a TV show as well, which is kind of scary because I'm such a huge fan of the comic book, and I'm like, man, this TV series could really ruin it.
What would be a TV show?
Something Is Killing the Children.
Oh, awesome. Maybe I'll watch it now.
It's got me worried. I mean, I think it's going to be, I can't remember if it's Netflix or Amazon Prime, one of the two, but it's one of those where, like, and that could be really good or really bad.
Yeah. Tinion kind of sold everything for TV. It's going to be a World Tree also.
Yeah, World Tree is going to be an animated series.
Yeah. There was something else. I don't remember if The Nice House is going to be a series.
There was something mentioned of it. Yeah, there's been something mentioned of. I don't know if it's going to be the Last House on the or the Nice House by the Lake or a Nice House by the Sea. Which one they're going to do? Yeah, hopefully the Lake, because I thought it was a lot better than the Nice House by the Sea.
Yeah,
both equally good, but By the Lake was definitely the superior of the two.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree. Nice House by the Lake was amazing. Nice House by the Sea is it's good, but
Yeah. And I think the biggest issue is it's taken so far in between issues that you just kind of like, yeah, I
the cast
gotta
is
read
too
it
big for
because,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
book that's built for reading singles. It's a book that is better enjoying as a trade, and
yeah,
which is weird.
yeah.
I'm feeling a bit as I said, I don't have the I didn't have the I didn't read much comics ever in my life. I started reading more after working on Otherkin, and I have more trouble with reading what's currently being released because the wait between issues it
Yeah.
just breaks the pace so much. When I started reading Absolute Wonder Woman, it was amazing. There were like 5 issues out, 10 issues out, something
Mhm.
like that, and it was great. I could just read them, and now reading them the issues as they come, I feel like I mean the last one was better. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The lack of reading kind of breaks it.
Yeah. And that it's ever expanding, right? They just released Green Arrow, and like I never got into the Absolute series, and but what I've done is like I like certain artists, so I will collect the cover that a certain artist has done. I pick
Right.
up the number ones of each series as it comes out, just so I can have a number one of the book for later on down the
Right.
road. But as far as the reading it goes, like I'll catch it when it's done in an omnibus or something, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's the best way to read, honestly.
Yeah. But let's talk about issue number 5 of Otherkin. And without spoilers, what makes issue number 5 different from the previous issues? And Marco, we can start with you on that one.
Okay, so issue number 5 is a little bit different because it's a flashback issue focused on what happened to Alex before they went to London. So this is a book that is going to answer a lot of questions. How Alex got their powers, how and why they went to London, why they are looking into this man called the Wizard, and also who is Noah. Noah is a name that appears in every issue, every previous issue. First as a note on the notebook pages on the end of the first issue, and then Alex mentioned Noah to Lorelai, and we know that Noah is an important figure of Alex's past.
Mhm.
So issue 5 is about to answer a lot of questions, and it's about to give readers a look at this kind of origin of Alex, and it's an important issue for this 8-story arc because we first see Alex in London and their investigation, and we now see why Alex is doing all that. And this marks a shifting point where Noah is going to become a main character. So,
Okay.
yeah. And we are already working on issue 6 for instance.
Okay.
We are coloring issue 6. And it's making Noah a main character changes a lot and allows us to do some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. And Victor, for you on that, did you approach issue 5 from a different perspective from the art standpoint?
Mm, not really. I want to say I kind of did so on issue 6 because issue 6 goes places.
Yeah, we
Fair
keep
enough.
joking that issue 6 is our Eisner issue.
It's a hard issue.
I like it. I like it.
But mostly I've been changing my process a lot. Uh, I'm learning while I do this from issue 1. So every time I think I can make something better on my process, I try to change it in a way that fits. Issue 6 kind of has different some art differences between the rest, and I don't think they're gonna stay there. I'm gonna go back to something more akin to issues 1 to 5 after that. But on issue 5, I think mostly what I tried to do there was Alex is different. And every time Alex shows up, they're different, because the idea there was to try to communicate this search for identity. Alex is a shapeshifter. They learn to shapeshift at some point in issue 5, and every time they show up, they look different, and that's the idea. They are trying to fit the world. They're trying to understand their place in the world. That's
this is
the main point.
This is for both of you. If somebody is just now discovering Otherkin, would issue 5 kind of be like a good place to jump in, or should they go back and read those first 4 issues?
The story was designed so that we would prefer you to spend a little bit of time with Alex in London before learning about their past. But you can absolutely grab issue 5 and read it. There's absolutely nothing preventing that. And this is something that we discuss a lot in terms of production, like since we are releasing things in issues, in floppies, it's important to also give certain ways of someone to jump into the comic without feeling completely lost. So the issue must have a reason to exist in itself. This is not always perfectly possible because we are telling a serialized story, so there are things that carry over from one issue to the other, but we really try to give each issue a structure of their own. So and issue 5, I think that's the easiest one to grab and read it and check a little bit of the universe. But just reinforcing something that Victor said about Alex's appearance in this issue 5 and how each scene has a different Alex. And this is something that we discussed a lot. So Alex is a shapeshifter. So they choose how they want to look. And how would you choose how you would want to look if you got these powers? You would experiment. You would try different things.
100%.
And even in the future, if we tell other stories, Alex is going to be looking differently also, because that version of them that they are in London, maybe it's not who they want to be in a few months. And so this is something that is quite part of the identity of Alex. They are fluid in all senses. They are all comfortable with experimenting with different ways of being, and the issue 5 shows a little bit of this.
I like it. So, and this is for both of you again. What do you think longtime readers will appreciate about issue 5?
Mostly the answers. I think that people who read the first 4 issues, they always send me messages like, "Oh, I'm so curious about this. I'm so curious about that. Can you tell me what happened?" So did that. And I think that the issue 5 is going to answer a lot of questions because, again, we planned the story to be 8 parts and to answer most of the questions that raise on these 8 parts. There are a few things left for the future, but this should be self-sufficient. That is
Right.
how we are looking. So we don't like, as readers and as people who read comic books, when a mystery gets dragged out too long for no other reason than extracting a story. So if we created this mystery, we need to offer answers.
Yeah, I think we made a bet on slow building, on expanding um, stuff with the right timing, and I think issue one kind of feels a bit slow. It's just setting up stuff, and if you get to issue 5, you get this feeling of, okay, this makes sense. This is how this stuff fits. And then on issue 6 we have, okay, this is new. There's something more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the whole puzzle yet on issue 5. We have a lot to evolve from there, but what you've read until then makes sense by issue 5.
No, I like it. So issue 5 has come and gone. It's off of Kickstarter. Fulfillment's it's taking place.
Yeah.
Now let's look at life after issue 5. I know, has anybody reviewed it yet? And has anybody read it and gave y'all feedback on it yet?
Yeah, we got 2 or 3 reviews so far, and the reviews were really positive. So we are quite happy about it. We always try to get more reviews. Once we have a release date for people outside Kickstarter, we are going to be hitting every member of the press again, because we're trying. But yeah, we still don't have this release date because since people backed us on Kickstarter, they should get the issue first. So yeah.
A good question.
Nimona,
I've never read
absolutely
Nimona.
Great comic. Yes, there are similarities. I didn't read Nimona until after I had written Otherkin, the first arc of Otherkin. But I also love how Nimona is a shape-shifting story that deals with gender a lot. And I found it really interesting to see how Alex had the similarity of Nimona, because Alex is gender fluid, so they shape-shift between different genders, and they are comfortable with that. Nimona has the similarities. And for instance, with Alex, there are entire scenes where Alex shapeshifts to a woman, and they stay like that while they are dealing with something. They don't think, I need to change to my basic form, because, okay, they are comfortable with that. So yeah, Nimona also has this kind of spirits, and amazingly, the Netflix adaptation is great also.
I haven't
have to check out the Netflix, because this is the first time I've ever heard of it. So if it's something on Netflix that I can just easily go to and check out.
It's a movie, and it's good.
I haven't read the graphic novel, but I watched the movie, and it's great. And I
have to check it out.
Is Nimona locked into animals? Is there something about shapeshifting into animals?
Yes, they shapeshift into animals too. They can shapeshift into humans and different humans and animals, and they use a lot of animals to create action set pieces. It's amazing. Like they are gorilla and they are fighting someone, and then they are a whale and crash everything, and it's like a high tech medieval setting that is really interesting.
I remember that.
No, I like it. And soon I am going to be back up and running and doing, I'm not going to do traditional reviews of comic books. I'm going to do a quick, probably 60 seconds to 90 second just like short video on reviews on comic books here soon. I don't know when I'm going to start that yet, but that's going to be coming soon. So, but
well, having you review Otherkin would be amazing.
And no, as soon as I get through the books, I'll definitely get one out for y'all. I don't know, like I said, when it will be. I do have an episode ahead of this one that I need to finish editing and getting posted before I can start on this one. So, but yeah, I'll definitely get one out for y'all.
Thank you so much.
It's really a good question right here. You can pick some other comic book to cross over with.
Easy. BPRD.
BPRD, wow, great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Early BPRD, like Hellboy is still working there, and then with Alex, and they go on some supernatural case together.
Right.
That would be really cool.
And Liz and everyone.
Yeah, I gotta say, Event Horizon. I mean, it would be a dream to cross over with Event Horizon.
So, have you been reading it? The new Event Horizon comic book?
I have.
Yeah.
Are you liking it?
I like the first series as a whole. I didn't like the ending so much. It felt a little bit rushed that they just ended things.
Yeah.
It was a little bit weird because it was building up and then just stopped.
Yeah. And some books, you can squeeze it all out in like 5 issues. I feel like if they would have gave us one more issue of that one, it would have been a solid ending. Yeah.
And
it's
better than the movie.
And the new one is good so far.
I enjoyed the movie, but I know exactly about I understand about the movie too, trust me. Yeah. But this is kind of a question. Oh, go ahead.
This is actually an honest answer now, because I'm seeing a lot of Godzilla crossovers with the Marvel Universe, with the Justice League, with everything. I love Godzilla. I love kaijus, and a Godzilla crossover. I know it doesn't work at all, but that would be great.
But it'd be cool, right?
We figured out.
I'm kind of over the Godzilla crossovers at this point. I love Godzilla. I love King Kong. I love the movies. I love the comics. They're always very good. But fuck. Yeah. You're talking about beating a dead horse and like milking that cash cow. You know, come on.
Got Godzilla with Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Is that real?
Yes. Yeah, it was on IDW.
And it's actually good.
Oddly enough, it was. It was oddly good. Which it should not have been, but they made it work. So
I got it. Is that a comic book?
This is for like no shit.
I gotta read that.
But this is kind of for both of you now. Like, what are y'all most proud of when you look back on this series so far?
I mean, for one, I'm proud that we got to issue 5. we
damn good one.
We just keep doing it. We're just going through the plan. You know what I mean? We have all these scripts and we are making them. And I mean, people aren't really reading them yet, but who reads them likes them. Yeah. Reviews are good.
It's hard with indie comics to persist because we don't get a lot of readers. We don't get a lot of attention. It's really hard to get people to review your comic because there are so many comics all the time that people prioritize. And yes, some depending on the people that we reach out to review our comic, we are competing with Marvel, DC, Image. It's another level.
Yeah.
So but I see that things have consistently improved. We get consistently more readers as issue goes by, and we get to meet new people. Thanks to working with comic books, we are now in touch with a lot of amazing writers and artists that are all supporting each other all the time. We are making connections that are great. Like Bianca was here earlier today just to just to say hi. And she's an amazing artist. And yeah, I saw Travis Brown, like here on the comments. Also, Travis is a
Yeah.
writer who is going to launch the his Kickstarter this month, and we've been talking a lot about writing and how to help each other. And yeah, Aquarium Starman is another artist that we know. She's been asking questions here. Mina is an amazing person that we are very fortunate to have met,
Yeah.
because we are making comics. So the fact that we are making comics is already being amazing, an amazing tool to meet people and to build art together. And this is something that is really satisfying. And I'm also happy, really happy that at each step of the way, every time that we came up with one idea, that we could do things easier, we could do things simpler in terms
Yeah.
of comic book. If we just do the panels straight away, we can tell the same story. But Victor and I feel that we are constantly challenging each other to be better, constantly
Yeah.
challenging each other to do something better. And uh, that gave birth to comic book pages that I look and I'm absolutely proud of. And I say, damn, this is a page that I see in great books that I
Yeah.
love and admire. And
Right.
I made this. I helped made this, and this is
Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird. It's not. And I'm not trying to say that we are just doing amazing stuff. We are making a lot of mistakes. We are learning. It's a process, but sometimes we make something that I look and I say, okay, this is good. Issue
Yeah.
three, the page with the blood on the background.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
almost there.
Issue three was
I'll get to
amazing.
that today. So don't spoil that for me. But I'm
The,
going to ask you both a question real quick, and then I got to go check on one of my cats. I heard it.
oh, okay.
But it won't take long, but while I'm away, I want to let y'all answer this question. It's like, what has y'all excited for the future of Otherkin? And while y'all are answering that, I'll be right back. So I'll let you,
Mm,
Marco, you start with you and then kick it over to Victor.
What we have in sight for the future is we are currently working on issue 6. We already have the issue 7 script ready. And the issue 8 is ready, the script, but we still need to read it again, polish, and solve things. So yeah, we have these 3 issues that are mostly done, that we want to tackle all 3 issues this year. Our goal is to reach the end of these issues this year. Hopefully we get there, but we'll see. Yeah, and the first step is going to make two intermission issues, so we can close this nice collection of 10 chapters, and hopefully we we will turn this into a trade paperback, and you know get a larger audience. Uh, Once this is done, we still haven't decided what we'll do yet, but yeah, 5 more issues to go seems to be a nice
Oh,
a
let's
nice
go.
goal.
Dude,
yeah.
that's you put the goal out there and you go for it, right?
Exactly.
It sounded
What
like you
makes
brought
me
something. I had to go
one
check
thing
on it.
that makes me one thing that makes me really excited for the future of Otherkin is some stuff that Marco has planned for the next arc. It's not scripted yet, just outlines, just ideas, and stuff that he wrote for the next arc are just amazing. I mean, there is no script yet.
Little teaser. Little teaser.
No teaser. No teaser.
Come on.
No
Okay,
teaser.
the teaser that I have to.
Don't do
Okay,
it.
I
Don't
will
do
tell
it.
the story.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
Don't do it.
no spoiler. No spoiler, but just to understand a little bit of the process. The second arc of Otherkin I wrote as an outline, like before I write scripts, Victor has to approve the outline because he is part of this.
Yep.
So I write the issue 1 of the next arc. The first scene is going to be this. The second scene is going to be that. The third scene is going to be that. So there's a breakdown scene by scene of everything that happens. And I wrote an arc, the second arc, and I sent to Victor, and he read it, and he called me and said, "This sucks."
Like that.
You're stone cold, man. You're stone
yes,
cold.
he literally said, "Look, this sucks. I didn't like it. I think that is overall doesn't make any sense." And he started to list a bunch of issues. So okay, I let it slip a week or two, and I say, "Let's give it another go." And then I wrote, and the number of issues is completely different. The events are completely different. There are things that are the concept of the arc is the same, but I changed everything, and I wrote, and I sent Victor, and he called me and say, "Dude, I'm crying," and that's I say, okay,
yeah, that's when
we are crying. We have to do that.
You start getting the tears. That's when you're like, oh yeah, that's
I was crying. And there's not even a script yet.
Yeah.
Just,
it's kind of wild, right? Because you could write something and be like, man, damn, I don't like this. And then you just sit it to the side. You let it marinate over there. You come back to it and be like, okay. And you start changing things. You start rewriting it. And then you're like,
yeah,
that's it. That's the one right there. And then we got Victor over here crying because it's so good. Like, dude, I'm hyped for it. Like, I'm ready for it.
we gotta get there.
We get to do another 8-10 issues after this that are planned. So,
this is a good question.
But
Maria's throwing out the hard questions. If an artist that inspired you both to create Otherkin could read it, do you think they would like it? That's a good question.
I would be afraid of having. I don't know. Imagine Mike Mignola reading my comic and saying, this.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Hey, y'all threw out Alan Moore too. Don't forget that.
Alan Moore is okay. Alan Moore not liking it. It's something that I would not take so personally because he doesn't like anything. I absolutely love that man, but that's the truth.
And he's very vocal about it too. He will let you know.
Honestly, if Alan Moore didn't like it, wouldn't mean much.
Yeah. You just joined the long list of other stuff that he doesn't like.
Right. We're along with the greats. We're top level.
Exactly.
Yeah, but imagine if I don't know, Grant Morrison, who's a writer that is phenomenal, and
you know what,
he reads and say, "This is shit." Oh, that would destroy me.
Really thinking about this question, I think if Gerard Way read Otherkin, I think he'd love it.
You should send it to him. Yeah, because if Gerard Way makes us a quote saying "I love Otherkin," all our problems are solved.
Yeah, we should try it.
Dude, you don't know unless you send it, right? Just send him issue 1 and call it good, and just sit back and wait, right?
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
Sometimes I think about it. You know what? I'm gonna start sending emails with Otherkin to Scott Snyder and Chip Zdarsky and Dennis Camp and Tinio. If one of them read it, likes it, and reply, that's already great.
Dude, no, that's exactly. You never know what's going to come out of it, right? And this is one of those stories where you're already 5 issues deep. It's ready to be made into a trade paperback or a graphic novel length. So, I mean, it's ready. So you never know. You send it to one of them going, hey, have a look at our issue 1. We've already written 5 issues of this. That could turn into, hey, we want to make it into a trade paperback and sell that for y'all. You never know. Like, I've seen crazier shit happen in this world.
Yeah. We can't talk about that yet, but we've been discussing this with third parties about turning Otherkin into a trade. It's not something that is all set to stone with all the details, but yeah, it seems it might happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
It could be coming soon. Not so soon.
Not so
I like it. Hey, soon, not so soon. The fact that the conversations are happening is a win, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's already something that makes us feel good. Like, okay, we are not delusional. This is
Dude, if you've managed to do 5 successful Kickstarters for the same series, you've already won, like, by far more than most people have.
Yeah,
and you're still going. You're still developing. Yeah. Some people do one, and if it's successful, they're like, "I'm done. I'm out." Because they come back for the second one, and maybe they don't promote it as well, or the audience isn't there anymore because it took so long.
Right.
You never know, right? And it's hard to predict the market in that regards. Do we hit another, COVID or something? God forbid. That dampens the market again.
We actually did 2 Kickstarters. The first one was for the first 3 issues, and the second one for 5. And the first Kickstarter we did all digital because I'm in France, Victor is in Brazil. To print this and send it would be a little bit complicated. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard because people would send us messages saying, "We would like to contribute, but digital, it's like not. I'm not willing to buy it digitally. You need to have physical copies."
Yeah, and, that's the biggest thing. But I've also noticed that there's been a lot of Kickstarters lately that have been like digital only.
Yeah,
or people are offering up like, "Hey, if you want a 10-book bundle for my digital library, you can support it like this way." And so I've been seeing that pop up a lot as well.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. But I like digital comics when I can just like in this respect, right? Because of what I do. Yeah, of course, digital comics make sense. But at the end of the day, they're just going to eat space on my hard drive, right? And I got like terabytes of hard drives over here. And I mean, it's kind of cool because like anytime like a previous person who's been on the podcast is coming back to talk about the next issue of their book, I can go refresh myself on the issue 1 or the issue 2 because I have them because they were generous enough to send them to me. And I'm thankful for that. But I am definitely more of a floppy type of person or a trade paperback type of person because I like to have that physical product in my hand because I like it.
Yeah.
I like to feel the weight of the book. I like the smell of the paper. With my eyes versus, I can zoom in on my computer and look at the pages, but you lose some of the finer details the more you do that. So I definitely just prefer to have that book in my hands. Nothing compares to it.
And there's also the sensation of owning something. You never feel like you own something digitally. I already bought a lot of comic books digitally. Like when a Humble Bundle gets sometimes a pack of something that I like, I buy it. But the first Kickstarter it was successful, but a lot of people complained about the lack of physical book. The second one, we got this partnership with Derry Comics on the US. They are handling the printing and distribution. And we got the physical comics, but in the 6 months that separated these 2 fulfillments, these 2 campaigns, these 2 Kickstarters, a lot less people were buying physical this second time and a lot more buying digital because they were saying shipping is crazy. Everyone
That's the market. And the shipping is what's killing most of it.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
So
we have no idea what to do next.
Some of the earlier Kickstarters I supported, like out of the UK, it was costing me like $5 or $6 to ship the book. That's okay, perfect. I'm paying a total of $13 or something like that. And then all of a sudden, like it was like 25 or 30 bucks to ship a book from the UK. And I'm like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like I so bad want to support it, but when the shipment is more than the physical product.
Yeah. Even US to US, the prices climbed a lot. Like people are paying $8 to $10 from US to US, and that is like too much.
Yeah, so it's like I want to sell my stickers, right? Like I have brand new USDN stickers that I had made, and I love them, and I would love to be able to sell them and send them to people. But the cost to ship one sticker or two stickers costs more than it takes to make one sticker. So I'm like, how do I do it? You know, it's like that's just too much. I can't justify it. So I'm saving them for conventions and stuff like that. I'll sell them at conventions.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, we still need to think a little bit more about how we will handle the upcoming issues. But we are trying to take things one step at a time. We are fulfilling issue 5. Let's fulfill issue 5. Let's discuss the rest. And meanwhile, we keep working and we keep getting more pages and keep getting more material done.
Yeah, you got to focus on the next one while fulfilling. So, I mean, it's a never-ending journey.
Yeah, exactly.
But and this is for both of you as we get ready to close this out. What do you want readers to ultimately take away from Otherkin? And Victor, we'll start with you on that one.
Okay. I gave this answer before on another interview we had, and I think that the main thing for the king is to not give up. That's been our journey working on it. That's Alex's journey. That's been our journey in life. Just don't give up. Just keep trying. Maybe you're doing it wrong, but just keep trying. Try to learn how to work it out, and that's Alex's journey. That's what I think you can take away from Otherkin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more to life than you can notice sometimes.
Marco?
That answer is perfect. And for the second point, just to underline, I think that having more accepting a little bit more life as is, and being a little less hard on yourself, on trying to think that you need to be more, need to do more, and maybe you can just be be in this present moment, and that is enough. I think that is something important.
Now that's a perfect answer. And before I adjourn the council today, where can everyone follow your work, support Otherkin, and stay up to date on what's coming next for both you and Victor?
So our main channel to communicate the news and take a look at things is Instagram. We are on Instagram at otherkin.comic. So that is a way to get news and stay in touch. But I recently also started a Substack where I've been writing long form updates on Otherkin. Like Instagram, something that we are going to publish more often, and you get a little bit information on everything. And on Substack, we discuss really how we are making the comics. So this example of how we interact with each other, how this is collaborative, we explain in detail on Substack, and we do something that is a little bit more in depth. The Substack is my name, Marco Vito Oddo.substack.com. So yeah, these are, I think that would be the two main platforms to get in touch and to follow the project.
Yeah. And I'm on Instagram at victorcosta.art, and that's it. I hate social media. But
hey, you gotta tell them though to pay attention because there's more than one Victor Costa art on Instagram. Make sure you select the right one.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Thankfully, like it's easy to pick which one is which because yours has a picture from Otherkin on it. So it was like I had to go like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm like, okay, this is the one. But yeah, there was more than one. There was, I think, two.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up, but it wouldn't show right to me because I already follow myself. So I wouldn't know. So yeah, victorcosta.art. It's the one that follows Otherkin. You can just reach Otherkin and you'll type. You see my work there.
All those links are down in the description if you want to give these guys a follow so you can stay up to date on Otherkin and what they have going on. But Marco, Victor, I want to thank you both for joining us and sharing the journey with the council. I always enjoy speaking with creators who are willing to bet on themselves, build something from the ground up, and continue pushing forward issue after issue. And that's exactly what the indie comics community is built on. And this is exactly why conversations like this matter. Council members, if you've enjoyed today's discussion, make sure you support Marco and Victor and follow their work and check out Otherkin. All those links are down in the description below. Independent comics survive because readers discover them, share them, and champion the creators behind them. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, follow, and share because every subscription, every comment, and every view helps us continue our mission of spotlighting incredible creators, keeping independent comics alive and thriving. From all of us here at the USDN, thank you all for spending a part of your day with the council. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the chairman. This has been the USDN podcast where indie comics come to life. Ladies and gentlemen, the council is adjourned. Y'all stay safe.
It's a trap!